Okay, right here. All your list of questioning um, for relationship advice. Um, got some good ones, actually. Some ones that are very complicated. And we're going to take them one by one. First one is a good one. They've had the wedding on and off last year twice. The reasoning was the first time was because they were waiting for COVID. No. They had a fight. Okay, they had a fight first. Let me get this right. Then what happened? They got back together. So when they got back together, COVID had hit. Now they're putting off the wedding until after COVID is over. And they're asking my opinion, both of them together as a couple, first time that's ever happened, asking if that is wise. I don't want to say that it's insane to get married right now. I mean, because everybody has the image of their perfect wedding in their mind, who they want there, the cake, the flowers, the dress, the way the groom should look and carry himself, the way that he should have his own vows written and be able to repeat them to you without being told what to say. I think that if you want the perfect wedding, you can wait till after COVID, yes. Or if you want to get married now and then maybe renew your vows when COVID is over, you might go to somewhere like a, a wedding in Vegas and then come back and then have just a small group of, or have the wedding that you wanted, but it just be like a renewal ceremony. That's what I would say. So you can put the wedding off. It's up to you if that's the way you feel about it. But I would say you could always do a renewal ceremony later and have somewhat the wedding of your dreams later if you want to do it that way. Another wedding question. This couple wants to get married, but they have one problem. No, two problems. The best man and the maid of honor have a history. And both are still single. Both have liked each other on social media, but they both refuse to talk to one another. How can they get both of them to break down the walls of communication in order to plan the wedding of their dreams? I'm going to say this. It's complicated. You can try to lead a horse to water to drink, and even if they have a history and they both like each other on social media, whatever media that is, that's a positive. Let time take care of it. By that I mean, God, if it's God's will for them to talk, then it will be done. This may be one of those things where you have to put off the wedding in order for them to talk to one another like adults. However, you just have to give it time. Having history is not a bad thing. It can be a good thing if they start fresh and don't go to the relationship graveyard and start digging up old wounds. If they start that, then you have no chance of it ever, going anywhere. But if they start with an open mind, and better yet, an open heart, and make a new start, then that might be the best thing ever, having both of that best man and the maid of honor. Eventually, you can even plan a wedding rehearsal dinner or wedding rehearsal, invite them both, and maybe that will be the icebreaker between the two. Maybe the two are just scared to talk to one another. Maybe there was some bad words that went down that he heard about her, or vice versa. The thing that I cannot understand to the death of me is, how two adults can be scared to talk to one another. But it's true, it can happen. And there can be a lot behind it. There can be, well, this was said and that was said. Or there can be, I just don't know how he'll react, so I don't want to talk to him. So it could be a mixture of combos, but you have to just let it play out. Maybe go ahead and plan your big day, and they'll surprise you. That's what I'll go with. Number 3. Ooh, this one's a complicated one. They've been dating for 4 long years, and he wrote on here 4 long years. There's just not enough surprise in the relationship, she complains. But if I surprise her and she hates the surprise, which she's been known to do, how do I not get it held against me if I'm trying to do something nice? This is one of those communication errors you have to talk about. Well, if you want me to surprise you, just say not now, here, like in the next 10 minutes, but what would be okay? I think that a lot of the questions and problems that you all give me is communication breakdown. And one thing that I've noticed since I'm getting older is that if we were all to talk out our problems with the person that we have a problem to, rather than to our friends, our family members, wouldn't it be great? It'd be the thing called an adult mature relationship. There would be an A and B and no C, D, E, F, and then back to A and B. I think all of the surrounding letters out there that bother A and B sometimes is the worst thing in the whole wide world. And you have to have faith and trust in the relationship. You have to know that person just a little bitty bit to know what their likes are and dislikes. You know this person. You've been together with this person for 4 years. If you want to surprise her, then you know what? I bet you can do it, and she's not going to get mad. And if she gets mad, tell her that, by God, she's lucky to have a man who surprises her. Because us women, some of us, have never had that joy and luxury. Oh, I've had things back when I was in a relationship, but I'm talking about, this is while you're in a relationship, that's all of a sudden, you get a card for no reason, maybe in the mail. There's you an idea. They sell cards out there at the Dollar Tree for 50 cents, 49 cents, something like that. You get a card that says thinking of you. It's not very expensive. You can drop it by the mailbox if you don't want to do postage, or put it on her windshield. But that way you're doing a small gesture. I think that's what she's trying to tell you. Do a small gesture, not a grand overture, to make a difference. So try doing a small gesture, and I bet it will open major doors for you. Ha! This is a good one. I have 2 Facebook friends who would be a great match. How do I make that happen? You got to be careful with that, because you're going to be the one getting caught in between. And if it doesn't go well, you're going to be the one getting caught in between. You can advise that, hey, you know what, this person you might want to be friends with, you have this and this in common. However, remember, if it doesn't go well, you're the one caught in between. So please remember that. I don't want anybody out there going, well, she said that I should tell you to, hook up with this one. No, I didn't. Just remember, everything that you do comes back on you. Good, bad, or indifferent. Oh, the next one is such a long-winded one. Oh, good gravy. It's really a 2-part question, so we're going to call this question 5 and 6. Been in this long-distance relationship, and we've been in it for 1 month on social media. What is the timeline to meet? Like, he's been talking to this girl for 1 month online on the dating app, he says. He's wondering if it's okay to ask for her number, so on and so forth. 1 month? Let me tell you something, honey. If you've been talking 1 month, you have the right to ask for her phone number. You can say, I would love to text with you first. I won't call you, but we'll start out with texting. Then you can move into texting, but maybe before the phone number, say, ask about FaceTime calls. Now, I'm going to tell you why this is important. Because, A, you're going to know right off you're not getting catfished, okay? And that you're actually talking to said person that you are in a relationship with. And that there's no funny business going on. Next, meeting in person, you can work up to that. Just don't wait 8.5 years. I would say the perfect timeline, since you've been chatting for a month online, obviously it's going well. Congratulations. Since it's been a whole month, I said by now, you've been obviously talking on the computer or whatever. Maybe, this is the time to start asking for the phone number because you would like to text. Start off slow. Don't spook her. Say you want to text her. Then maybe after a couple of weeks, say, can I call you? Can I FaceTime you? Then if that goes well, I always say I have a 3-month deal in my mind. After Mike, I've learned this, okay? You have 3 months and then you must meet, okay? Some would be quicker, fast trained than that. I'm not. I think it's because I'm scared and I have my own walls and insecurities. But I think that 3 months, and I would say if you meet, don't do it at a bar. Now, there's a real good reason. Some are going to say it's because Donna's against alcohol. No, it's not because Donna's against alcohol. You want to have a level head, a level perspective, not jump to conclusions or be drawing false conclusions that may not even be true. You have to be like, go in with an open head and an open heart. That's my new thing. Go in with an open head and an open heart and be like, okay, so I see this person as a person who's talkative, maybe talks too much because they're nervous, maybe says too much because they're nervous, and scared to ask questions because maybe they're not, maybe, they were raised as an only child and didn't have a lot of social interaction or had limited social interaction other than older adults. You have to think about the atmosphere that the person was raised in as well. You have to be considerate. There's a big thing, considerate and compassionate. Those are two big things. I now say that there are 3 things in a relationship that makes a relationship hold like glue. That's considerate, compassionate, and communication. That's your 3 C's. And if you can get those 3 C's down path, you should have no problem. And that is our relationship questions for the night. I hope I have helped you all. I hope that I've given you some insight of where you need to go with these relationships. I always say go anywhere, but please don't try breaking up because I said somewhere down the line you should break up, which I don't think I did that tonight, which is a good thing. But always talk your problems out. If I could tell my younger self anything, I would say don't be scared. Don't hold it. And maybe you talk too much sometimes, but that's because you're scared. Maybe you are fearful of saying the wrong thing because you don't want to upset them because you've seen people's tempers in the past. Maybe you are timid or shy at moments because you don't really know what to expect. But I did have another question that was asked and I just thought about it. I'll cover it. It'll be our official number 6. This girl had asked me that she was wanting to know, is it okay to hold hands on a first date? I would say on a first date, there's a lot of things you should be able to do without reluctance, without his like shying away or giving you the vibe that you're not good enough. I would say that one of the things that you should be able to do on a first date is is lose your voice. No. Hold hands. That's one thing. Take pictures. And I'm going to tell you why pictures are so important here in a minute. I'm a picture person. And one thing that I have learned is that life is precious and it's a gift. We're not promised tomorrow. And we should value each other for the time that we have spent together. And pictures are a big deal to me now. Because sometimes you don't get that chance to remember or hold on to those memories that you will hold on to the rest of your life that have made your life a major impact. So take pictures. Ask to take a picture. It doesn't have to be a romantic picture. Just a picture that you're both in together. Because there's a real good reason. You want to see if there is a reason that he doesn't want to take a picture with you. Is it your weight? Is it the way you look? Does he have a side chick? And maybe he doesn't want her knowing where he's at? This is good stuff to remember. So I hope that you are taking notes. Another thing that I would tell you is don't leave anyone with any doubt. Don't create doubt. Be able to be a cowgirl or cowboy and cowgirl, cowboy up. Meaning, at the end of the night, one of the questions I didn't cover, which we'll cover that now, they said that they shared a hug and they said that there would be another date. And they said, is that proper not to call back? No, that is not proper, and that is not being a mature person. You need to rise above, put your big boy panties on, text the little female, and say, look, I hate that. I hate when men text and don't have the common courtesy to give the voice over the line or show up at the door and be a man, not a boy, and talk out issues. Because I think that's the greatest courtesy you can give someone, is to be able to talk out your issues rather than run from them. And in my life, I have witnessed the running and what that causes. I think it's better to not have that. To be like, okay, you know what? This is how it is. This is why. And don't say it's you, it's not me, it's you, and stuff so cliche. Be honest. Be really forthright. And I had another question on there that I didn't get to. I guess I'm going to get to all these eventually here. The girl had PCOS, and she thinks the reason she didn't get a second date was because she couldn't bear a child. Let me say something. There's a reason I color these things about impossible, and there's a reason I hate this word, impossible. Because people can tell you things like, you're never going to be able to do this. You know how many gynecologists I went to before I had my cysts removed? Do you? I had a history the size of a Sears catalog. And the reason being, they could not diagnose me properly. And that was even the doctor who diagnosed my mother with a cyst on her ovary the size of a grapefruit that he did her major surgery in order to have me. He wanted to schedule me for a whole hysterectomy. By the grace of God, I had found Dr. Horvat. And I will never forget the way she walked in that room with my big old thick catalog file, walked right over to that trash can with her foot, opened it up, and threw it in there. And I said, but that's my file. She goes, that's the wrong information. I'm going to tell you what you have. And then we're going to talk about what area and how to go proceed on this. When I finally found out the truth that I had polycystic ovarian syndrome, and that I wasn't going to die today, tomorrow, but sometime, because we all die, it's not, you can't really predict that. But when I found out what it does cause, things started clicking in my head. And I think one of the biggest barriers that I have is that I'm thinking to myself, now, okay, my age, that's a big thing. Secondly, I do want kids, and if I can't have them biologically, I do want to adopt. Crazy me, right? But I'm pretty sure that's where you're at, too. You're thinking to yourself, it's not so much the age, but I want to have kids, and I don't want to trap him in a relationship where I may not be able to have kids, but the next one may be able to have kids with him. And that's the hardest pill of all to swallow. But if he loves you enough, he's not going to run. He's going to stay by your side. And I hope and pray for your sake he does. Because there's nothing worse than the alternative. Anyway, I'm not going to get too much into my history much more tonight because I'm exhausted and that took a lot out of me. So, I think the kid thing, though, it's a heavy burden for us women, and it may not be for you men because you can just go out with any woman at any age and reproduce. While us women, we have clocks. Although I watched The Labor of Love tonight, and I was so glad to watch that show because they had to go to the little mobile unit to get a sample, and the doctor told us that men do have clocks. So that part kind of reassured me that it's not just us women, that you men do have clocks as well too. So just know that if I had the opportunity to have my dream come true, I would probably jump at the chance. But at this point, I hate to say it, but it's like I've given up on hope. And that I see limitations for myself because of my confidence, because of my PCOS. And I just wish things were different. But that's all I'm going to do tonight on the relationship advice. Thank you all for all your questions. God bless. Keep your social distance. Wash your hands. And if you can't wash your hands, use your hand sanitizer. Wear your mask. God bless.